Hello, welcome back to another You Ask, I Answer. No doubt, I got a lot of similar questions to this one in the past 6 months. Nick, when and where is the bottom of the market, right? Because we have a declining market. Do I need to beat the dead horse? Not an easy question to answer, okay? There are always multiple signs and signals to a bottom of the market, and there's never one thing. If I look at the stock market and we have massive decline, for sure you see a lot of people start to predict where the bottom is. And often some of the good indicators is watching the volumes of the trades, okay? Because when something is crashing, usually you see heavy volumes coincide with near the bottom, okay? That's the key word, near. I didn't say the bottom, because when the worst selling is taking place, when many people are giving up, throwing up their hands and dumping regardless of the price, they are going to take the pain. They don't care how much of the pain, they can't take it anymore. That's the crescendo of selling. Fancy words, right? But if you watch CNBC in a big downturn, you hear that kind of talk. And that's a good sign of near bottom, because you need to see the weak hand flush out. Flush out, okay? People are giving up, throwing in the towel. Use any kind of cliche you want, but that's what you need to see. You need to see an exhaustion of sellers. Now, once that happens, does that mean that the market is gonna rebound? No. Okay. What happened is, once that happened, likely the market can drift lower or even go sideways for days, if not weeks or months. For those that remember the stock market crash of 2009, once the bottom hit, there are volatility on the bottom where you see sharp up and sharp down, testing that bottom. But at the same time, what happened when there is a testing of the bottom? Lower volume, declining volume, because there was an exhaustion of sellers, okay? It already flushed out a lot of the weak hands. So what's left are the straggler, the people that late to the party, that still debating whether they should give up or not. And as those number of people decline, volume dry up a little bit, then you start to see a shift in balance of sellers and buyers. Okay, it's a big crescendo downfall. You have, of course, more sellers than buyers, because buyers are sitting on their hands. Buyers are sitting back and waiting for more pain. But once you get to a point where buyers decided that it's low enough and there is an exhaustion of sellers, then you start to see price stabilize and reverse. Okay, so normally those are the kind of indicators that I see in the stock market. Not always, not every crash has the same kind of footprint. Now, if I switch over to the comic book market, certainly it's much more difficult to see or spot a flush of weak hands. Okay, it's not easy. For example, on any given month on Comic Link, you can see 10 copies of Spider-Man 129. Does that mean that there's a flush of the market because you see 10 copy of Spider-Man 129 on Comic Link in January or December or November last year? No. For those that remember my market report, there was one auction at the end of last year where there was like 10 copies of Spider-Man 129. Is that the end? Was that the crescendo, the flush? No, obviously not, right? Because the market was still going down as of January. I can't wait to do the market report for February to see what the heck is going on with the market there. But, for me, it's much more difficult to spot the bottom of the comic book market because the information is so spotty, it's so inefficient. But for sure, some of the things that I'm seeing in the past few months definitely raise my eyebrows. For example, I'm shooting this video the third week of February, a week after Valentine's Day. Hopefully, I will load it before the end of the month. If you pay attention to the big auction, let me ask you this question. When is the last time you see 3 copies of Captain America 1, that Golden Age major key? When is the last time you see 3 copies, blue label, auction off within 3 or 4 weeks? When is the last time you see that? I have been in this hobby watching the auction for the past decade plus, and I can tell you, I cannot remember the last time or ever that I see 3 copies of Captain America 1 hitting the auction within a few weeks. 2 on Comic Link in February and 1 on Heritage. Yeah. If I was, hopefully I will remember to slide in the image of those auctions. Yeah, 3. Okay. That's not normal by any means. Now, does that mean that this is the beginning of the big flush of the big books? We'll see, but if we start to see multiple, not that we have seen, 2 copies of Action 1 hitting the market before. Okay, so it has happened before, but usually it's like 1 low grade and 1 restore, that's the kind of deal. But you don't see 3 Action 1, 3 blue label Action 1 hitting the market, or 3 Detective 27 hitting the market at the same time. So we will see. Okay, but that's the kind of thing that I pay more attention to as far as what's going on with the market, because when you see big books like that being flushed out of people's hands, it definitely raises an eyebrows. I'm not calling the bottom, but certainly it's something to watch closely, and for sure watching the price of these things closely is gonna be something that I am not gonna miss, because you know me, when it comes down to these big books, I have heard for a long time they safe. And you know me, I said it for a long time. There's no such thing as safe. The question is the magnitude of the decline, because when things are bad, whether it's the stock market or the comic book market, when the tide recedes, it drags everything with it for the most part. The only question is the magnitude of the decline. Some books may only decline 10%, some books may decline 50%, even for keys, big keys. So we will see which one has strong hands, which books are in strong hands, and which books are in weak hand, because the weak hand is going to be dumping. The weak hands are the one that bought these books on credit, on loans, on leverage, things that people can't afford in the first place. Yeah. When bad things happen, you can't hide, okay? The weak hand cannot hide. They cannot. Anyhow, I'm not sure if I answered the question as far as where is the bottom. We're nowhere near the bottom. That I can say. Okay, I can't tell when the bottom's gonna happen, but for sure at this point, I can't see why there is a bottom yet. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.